All this extreme supercar action is proudly brought to you by G&H Transport. Welcome to Kyalami. Oh, can you believe it? We're at the home of motorsport in South Africa, and the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit, part of the Festival of Motoring, brings you action from the extreme supercars. And G&H Transport Extreme Supercars is also joined by 4 new drivers. Arnie Neveling steps back into the Stradale Motorsport machine. Gavin Cronier is back on the scene as well. Michael Stephen there with him. And Stuart White from International Duties will also be on call for the XO's team. Amazing effort there being put in by Into Africa Mining. And Blunt will be looking to push as hard as he can in his Porsche. Let's see what's going to happen at the front end of this field, because there are some really superb vehicles about to go to battle. Looks like there's some battles down in pit lane as well.
I mean, what an awesome experience for me, just to drive a GT3 car around Kyalami is always such a special feeling, I just absolutely love it, and just really honored, that Harry and them trusted me and the team trust me to drive the car. And like you said, I mean, we have a lot of new faces in, a lot of quick guys. It's a really exciting weekend. We're really looking forward to it.
It's been a while since we've seen the Ginger Ninja behind the wheel of a car. Let's catch up with Gav.
I'm going to be running the 458 in this event. It's a great opportunity that's been given to me, and we're going to go have some fun. The car's really behaved itself well yesterday. The guys, public car guys, did a great job, and the car's running clean. So let's go and have some fun.
Great to have Stuart White back from International Duties.
My debut weekend for the Extreme Supercars. I didn't even make it to the first practice as an extra practice before the weekend. We had an upright failure. So it's one of those things, but hopefully we'll be back for Cape Town. That's the plan, to come back with the Aston Martin in Cape Town. This year I've been very fortunate to be racing with MSA Racing in Europe, as well as with Greystone, with the McLaren, the GT4. So it's been really interesting between the Ferrari project, the McLaren project, and also racing Aston Martin and a Lamborghini in South Africa. So yeah, I'm very humbled and very fortunate to have this experience, and all made possible by Kulile Ledlaka and Into Africa Racing, and also by Fanatical Software of Sean Penrich, and also Defensor Security Company. So all of those people behind me can only get better from here on in.
Michael Stevens in the house.
Fantastic to be at the Kyalami Motorsport Festival, and obviously racing in the Extreme Supercars. Big thanks to Ultimate Outlaws and Africa Race Together. Had one qualifying session really well, and we've got another one coming up soon, and hopefully we can put it on the front row. Driving an Audi R8 LMS, basically current spec, so lap times are good, and hopefully we can dip into the 41s in qualifying.
Speaking of qualifying, it's time to get into that all-important factor. Get the cars out onto the track and see who's going to put it onto that front row. Michael Stevens seems pretty confident. So does Gavin Cronier. It is fantastic to have those two cars back into the series, and just showing you there's a nice big field of over 20 supercars about to go to battle over the weekend here at the Festival of Motoring. A little bit of a spin there for Marius Jackson. MJR Audi coming out of Yuxke, just got a little bit out of shape, but managed to get going again. Mikel Patamba in pit lane there. Looks like a couple of changes, and a couple of changes here as well for Arnie Neveling. This man should be right at the front end of the battle. He certainly has got a very fast Porsche. Franco Scriblanti will be looking to try and get to the front end and see what he can do about the new contenders in Michael Stephen and Gavin Cronier. So he's looking forward and reveling it.
Can we stop the tyres left to right and go do another lap?
The new ones?
Yeah, or not?
Just as is. Or you want to swap them back?
Just let them cool down a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably better to swap left to right. Okay. Then those tyres on that side.
There we go. Michael Stephen just giving the crew a chance to swap the tyres around, get those Michelins, and see if they can work a bit better if they go the other way around. Give them a chance to cool down as well. Let's see what Mike can do. Getting out once again to see if he can put it onto the front row and possibly onto pole. He's looking forward to even going quickest ever around the circuit in a GT3 car, and he's pushing hard at the front end. See the curb end Porsche out there as well. Great to see Nicky Dix, and fantastic to have the Scribantis back into it as well. Flags out. Let's see who's at the top. It's Michael Stephen with a 1:41.286. That's an incredible lap time. Arnie Neveling right behind him there with a 1:41.6. Charles Oranges beats up Mikel Patamba. Gavin Cronier with Jonathan Dutoy behind that. Kulile Ledlaka, and then it is Calvert, Franco Scribanti, and Sun Woodley. Peter Joubert looks very good in that Lotus. He's ahead of Nicky Dix. Nathan Hammond in the Lamborghini just ahead of Mo Mir in the Toys R Us Porsche. Then it's Marius Jackson, who you saw there had some issues. London Ellerine, Mark Detroit, Roy Obery, and Uli Sana. Let's catch up now with our pole man.
Fantastic result. Got a bit close at the end. Traffic in the beginning of the session was quite difficult. We came into the pits, we waited a bit and left it to the last lap. But a big thanks to Isaac Spies and Team Ultimate Outlaws, Africa Race Together. A fantastic opportunity. Always great to race at Kyalami, and now we can look forward to the race.
Well, a multiple SA champion in Michael Stephen is certainly looking forward to it, and so is Sun Mudley, Mo Mir. I think Action Jackson, we're looking to try and keep it on the black stuff and not spin out. Uli Sana in the G&H Transport. And in fact, only one of the cars that survived the weekend from G&H. Great to have Uli at the back there pushing hard in that Z4. But look out for Arnie Neveling as well. He's certainly going to be pushing Michael Stephen and Franco Scribanti for that first race win. How awesome are these cars? Look at that technology that's being put down on the road here at the Festival of Motoring as part of G&H Transport's Extreme Supercars. Great to have the Lotuses back in it as well. And keep an eye on those little battles between the in-house, between classes A, B, and C in this category too. But it's time to go racing. Coming down to the final corner, on board now with Gavin Cronier in the Pablo Clark Ferrari. This 458 is going to be a little bit hard pressed to stay with the big cars ahead of him, but with Cronier's experience, he's going to try and push to stay hard and right in it. As they get ready to go, those lights are going to go out, we're going to go racing, and it's going to be Michael Stephen to lead them down towards turn one. As I said, the 458 just leaves a little bit of top end there, and you can see, speaking of top end, how's that Porsche of Franco Scribanti round the outside and down towards turn one. He's already up into second place by the looks of it. Fantastic start there from Franco as he dives in. He slots into third place as they go through that first corner into Crowthorne. Around the outside comes the Bigfoot Express freight car, and you can see Sun Mudley already looking to try and get on the inside there of Cronier a bit further back. Now pushing hard, and Jabir in there too. Running wide. Franco Scribanti pushing maybe a little bit too hard. He now slots in behind Oranges, and the two of them going at it. And look at that, Arnie Neveling in the mix as well. But out front, it is Audis 1 and 2. Neveling on the tailpiece there of Michael Stephen. Lights ablaze here. It's late in the afternoon. The first heat of racing finished up very late in the afternoon for the Festival of Motoring. But there's still a huge crowd here and enjoying all the action. This was Mikel Patamba's point of view in his Mercedes-Benz as he goes through the S's for the first time, trying to close things down there. And you can see Oranges just ahead of him as they head up towards Leeuwkop. Hard on the brakes. The hardest pusher at this stage is Scribanti. He wants to try and catch those two Audis out in front of him. Two Mercedes-Benz on his tail. Then it's the Ferrari leading things out over Jonathan Dutoy. Dutoy not quite getting the start he wanted. He's going to have to do some work to try and catch the man who is involved in this championship. And of course, that's Franco Scribanti in third place at this stage. So Franco Scribanti and Dutoy fighting for the overall honours in the championship. But you can see just how hard they're having to push as they come out of Cheetah into Ingwe for the first time to complete this first lap in anger. Ferrari closing things down now on the two Mercedes-Benz. Mikel Patamba on the tailpiece there of Oranges, but he's got some problems of his own there. Cronier is being hunted down big time by Dutoy. Sun Mudley in the third of Mercedes-Benz. He comes out of that final corner. He's tucked in amongst the Audi there of Joseph Ellerine, and right on his tail looks like it's Mo Mir in the Toys R Us Porsche. Late braking coming from the Audi on the inside. Brilliant stuff there from the Patriot Racing and the Stradale Audi. Keeping out Franco Scribanti, and Arnie Neveling, by fighting so hard with Franco, is allowing Michael Stephen to get away. Michael Stephen looking to try and get into those lap record pace as soon as possible. As they come past the pit lane, that's where the pit boards will be showing them exactly where they are. And already an attack into Sunset. Can we see the Porsche coming on the inside? No, he wasn't quite close enough. Arnie Neveling runs wide, holds that inside line for Clubhouse, and just shuts the door there on Franco Scribanti. Franco pushing hard, but he can't find a way through on Arnie. This is Arnie's point of view as they go into the S's. This is such a good shot here from them, came flying through the S's now up towards Leeuwkop. It's going to be a little bit of a sunset there as well that might affect them. Now I think the sun's just gone behind the castle, so it's okay there. The only time they're going to be affected is in the corner that is named after the sunset itself. Coming out of Leeuwkop for that Porsche pushing hard, and it's Mudley. He's still under attack there from the curve end Porsche. It's Nicky Dix who's moved up a couple of positions to get onto the back end of Mudley. Looks like Jubba's dropped back into the hands of, yes, that's Nathan. And Hammond is pushing hard, but this is Mo Mir's point of view, looking at that battle. Let's have a look and see if he lifts off here. 5th gear, little lift. Oh, the Toys R Us Porsche almost flat through that very tricky part of the bottom of the mine shaft. It's not easy to do that. I can tell you there's a lot of guys who can push those cars to the limits, but to go through the mine shaft and through the sweep, full taps, it's not easy. Moodley now, ahead of Nicky Dix. Hammond, and he's being hounded there by Juba. Juba closing things down there in the Lotus. So Nathan Hammond getting a chance to drive the Lamborghini this weekend and doing a superb job of it. He's got Juba behind him, and then it's Momia in the Porsche, and behind that looks like it's Joseph Ellerine and then Ant Blunden. So 2 Porsches, an Audi, all pushing hard there and fighting with the Mercedes-Benz. Speaking of Mercedes-Benz, let's go on board here with Mikael Patamba, heading up our barbecue into Yuxke. He still hasn't found a way through there on Charles Orangi's. Orangi's looking for a chance now to be at the front end if he can, but it's kind of a battle for what is about 4th and 5th place between them. Scribanti Porsche has not found a way through yet on that Paget Racing Audi, and we're back on board with him as we go through the S's. Great run here from Arnie Nevling, but he's not having any answer to Michael Stevens' pace. And in fact, Michael Stevens' pace is just outside of lap record, overall lap record here at Kyalami. Possibilities, we might see that. Maybe not this evening because track temperatures have dropped slightly, but in the second heat there's a good possibility we may see Michael Stevens into those lap record pace. 2 Mercedes-Benz now being closed down by the Ferrari, and look at that. Gavin Cronier is bringing Jonathan Adoy along for the ride. Looks like the Porsche's dropped back slightly there, so Franco not as attacking and as aggressive as what he was earlier on. These 2 Mercedes-Benz are certainly not giving up, and there is a huge press now coming onto that Peretti machine of Gavin Cronier. We're on board with him. Pablo Clark and Peretti Auto Parts machine here as they go through a very tricky cheetah corner now down towards Ingwe. He'll be watching that rearview mirror. It's not really a rearview mirror, it's kind of a rearview screen that shows him exactly where the number 1 car is. And look at that, Detoy is all over the back of him. Detoy wants by big time. You can see just there on the screen those lights of the Lamborghini behind him. Cronier, and he's giving it everything he can. Look at this, 230, 240. Are we going to get to 250 before he gets on the brakes? Yes, just to the 250 k/h mark as he climbs on the anchors down into Crowthorne. Yeah, that's... Oh, and around the outside goes the Lambo. So even quicker and later on the brakes was Detoy finding a way past there on the Ninja. So Gavin Cronier loses out. Speaking of Lamborghinis versus Porsches versus Lotuses, we go back to this battle. Nathan Hammond now has got to the front end and he maintains that gap between Juba and Momia. Ellerine trying to close that gap down as well, along with his teammate. And now fighting hard to try and get that gap down. Back on board with Momia in that Toys R Us Porsche. That is why it's called Sunset. The sun's almost gone behind the mountain, so it won't be affecting them for much longer. A lot of these guys will have the dark visors and probably just slot those visors down if they get a chance to. Not going to affect them too badly. Here's Momia's point of view, heading into the S's, closing things down on Jaber's Lotus. That Exige has got a very, very quick machine. It's the AMG-powered machine that he drives. There's a Honda-powered one that his brother's got. Of course, there's also a huge one that comes with a Ferrari power too, with Darby from Cape Town. Up onto the top of the hill they go, back into Leeuwkop. Momia has closed that gap down between himself and the Lotus, and he looks to try and pounce now. And you've got Marius Jackson, Joseph Ellerine. Looks like Moodley's dropped back slightly between them as well. And then just in the background, picked up on Detoy, Mark Detoy in the red Ferrari. Bit further back in the slightly lower spec Ferrari, but he's still pushing hard for class honours, remember. There are classes being fought for here, big time. Momia and Jaber going at it for Class A. And this is Mikael Patamba fighting for GT3 honours here with Charles Orangi's, the 2 Mercedes-Benz. Very evenly matched these 2 cars. But Mikael now starting to put the pressure on, and a lot more pressure this time onto the back end of Charles Orangi. So Orangi's will soak that pressure up, there's no doubt about it. But if anything goes wrong, look in the background. At Peretti Auto Parts machine and Pablo Clark Ferrari, that's the 458 of Gavin Cronier. He's looking to try and pounce and see if they can spoil the day. No one's going to spoil this man's day. Looks like he's got plain sailing at this stage, coming in amongst the back markers now. And Michael Stephen in the Ultimate Outlaws, and this car is just absolutely on song as we fly through. There you can see no lift at all from Michael Stephen as he gets to the bottom of the sweep. And that mineshaft is a tricky one to get right. Looks like he's just got this thing on rails through here though. Runs a little wide out of Crocodile, but nicely done back into the cheetah corner here. And Michael Stephen is just showing the boys the way around here. Arnie Nevling tried to give him a run for his money, but he's just not able to run with the same kind of pace as Michael Stephen has got. That checkered flag is on standby, and Michael Stephen is going to take the first victory of the weekend at Festival of Motoring in the G&H Transport Extreme Supercars. Winning out over Arnie Nevling, it's Audi 1 and 2. Franco Scribante dropped back slightly. Looks like he might have had a little bit of an issue there. I wonder if he's picked up a bit of a miss as he comes across the line into third place there. And behind him, it's a couple of the back markers led out there by Mo Mia in the Toys R Us Porsche. Here come the Mercedes-Benz GT3 battle up for grabs. And Charles Oranges is going to hang on to that one. He wins out over Michiel Patamba. Fantastic run there from the young man. He's also come from international duties and he's back on South African soil in his Mercedes-Benz. Gavin Cronje finishes up just behind them. And then it was XO. Good run from him in the Lamborghini Huracan. Let's get those official results now from G&H Transport's first outing in the Extreme Supercars. Michael Stephen from Neveling, Scribante from Detroit, Oranges from Patamba. Gavin Cronje beats out Letlaga, and it's Andrew Colbert and Nicky Dix making up the top 10. Good run there from Colbert. He's looking very forward to taking on his teammate later on. Nathan Hammond is there in 11th place. Mo Mia down in 12th, beating out Peter Joubert and Son Moodley. And that was the teammate I was speaking about. Hillarine in 15th, London Jackson, Aubrey, Sana, and looks like Mark Totoy had some issues at the end.
Fantastic race. It was a bit tricky at the start. We were always worried about Franco getting through on the start, and also obviously keeping the lead in turn one. Ari on the outside, you can always have a go on the outside, and managed to get the lead, pushed a bit in the beginning, did a quick lap for race 2, and controlled it from there. Had a few moments with the traffic at the end, but everyone did a great job and got through. And big thanks to Team Ultimate Outlaws, Africa Race Together, Isaac Spears for the opportunity, and the mechanics have all done an absolute brilliant job on the car, and hopefully we can pull off another win tomorrow.
Second place was Arnie Neveling, also in an Audi R8.
In the beginning he got away. I had Franco behind me, so I had to defend a little bit. And as soon as we got to the traffic, they were holding him up, so then I was able to catch up a little bit. But ultimately we just didn't have that last little bit to fight for the win. But it was an awesome experience. I mean, driving into Sunset and the car, the team have done such a good job. We keep improving every session. So what a pleasure, what an honor to drive here.
Third place and maintaining his lead in the championship, Franco Scribante.
Yeah, look, I mean, with a turbocharged car, the starts are a lot better than the normally aspirated cars. So by the first corner, I was way up. And the first three laps, I thought that maybe I could stay with him. And then I started to develop a bit of a misfire. So I won't say I backed off too much, but I was conscious of it, let's say. And it was throwing me off a bit. But yeah, from a horrendous start to a weekend, starting in 9th and finishing in 3rd, I'm happy with that. And tomorrow we'll go again.
Welcome to it. It is day 2 at the Festival of Motoring at Kyalami Grand Prix of Entertainment. And the crowds are starting to come in for all the race action that is going to be planned here for the weekend. Son Moodley, I think, is looking forward to taking on his teammate, Andrew Colbert, in the 2 Mercedes-Benz. And there are a lot of guys that are going to resume battles that happened last evening here at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit as part of G&H Transport Extreme Supercars at the Festival of Motoring. Jonathan du Toit will definitely looking to improve. He's got to try and close things down there on Franco if he wants to close things down in the championship. Michael Stephen will look for another victory if he can, and I think Arnie Neveling might give him a run for his money. So will that man, Franco Scribante. As they roll out of pit lane, it's time to go racing again here at the Festival of Motoring and G&H Transport Extreme Supercars. And we got on board with the pole man, Michael Stephen, in the Ultimate Outlaws Audi. Can he make it 2 out of 2 here this weekend? That's exactly what he's looking for as they head down towards turn 1, Crowthorne corner. But inside comes Franco Scribante. Here we go. He was talking about the turbocharged car and how much of a difference it makes coming into turn 1. In the background, look out for a move on the inside from Michiel Patamba, looking for a dive through. Oh, there's touch, there's contact. And I think that might have come from the Audi. Yes, it's the Paget Audi slipping out. Gavin Cronje got involved as well. He spun out just in the background. And I think there's a possibility there was a touch between Arnie Neveling and Jonathan du Toit. The two of them coming together there as they came out. Charles Oranges was involved as well. You can see a bit of battle scars on the front end of his AMG as they get onto the back straight now for the first time. So leading things out and bits and pieces of cars flying off the cars here, left, right and centre. Ooh, some of them not seeing them and just destroying carbon fibre as they came across those bits and pieces of the leftover bits of that AMG. And there's a couple of other cars that had some cars and bits and pieces flying off them as well. Safety car has been deployed, had to be, as we got lots of debris on the circuit to clean up. Let's have a look at the replay heading down into turn 1. This is on board with Arnie Neveling as he comes down into turn 1. He's looking to try and go around the outside of Michael Stephen. He turns in. A little tap from behind. That's come from Charles Arangis. Arangis is also, and you can see Jonathan Dutoy had to run very wide. I thought Dutoy was involved, but actually he was taking evasive action and ran through the kitty litter to avoid the 2 spinning cars. You can see Dutoy on the left-hand side there, and as the cars come together, he goes right to miss everything and has to go into the kitty litter. So does Zolila Letlaka. So both of the Lamborghini Hurricanes had to go into the kitty litter. This is Gavin Cronier's point of view as we go down to the same incident. Turning in, Mikael Patamba's on the inside. Oh, yes. Contact between the 2 teammates there. Yeah, it was Charles Arangis tapping the back end of Arnie Neveling, and that was causing most of the issues in the background. You can see he had to bring it into pit lane there with some serious front-end damage to the Mercedes-Benz, and looks like Arangis might be out of the second heat. There's a bit too much damage on that car. Mikael Patamba continues to fight hard as he gets back into the mix of it here, trying to close things down as they come to complete a lap in anger now that we're back and racing. So Mikael Patamba looking for a chance now to possibly get up into that top 3 and spoil the day for the usual contenders here in G&H Transport Extreme Supercars. He's trying to close things down there. As you can see, it's going to be a hard push to get onto the back end of Michael Stephen. Nicky Dix is quite high up in the overall standings there. And you can see Dutoy trying to regain positions, having to go into the kitty litter earlier on. Franco Scaranti continues on his merry way at the front end, leading out Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen has not had an answer yet to that Porsche. And Mikael Patamba sitting comfortably in 3rd place. Nice run there from the youngster. He has also come from, as I said, some international duties in Europe in some Porsches. It's been fantastic to see his progress on his international career. Pulling away now from the Covent Porsche of Nicky Dix. Nicky Dix has been closed down by Jonathan Dutoy. Hand over fist. Dutoy coming through rapidly. And also watch for the return there of Zolila Letlaka as he tries to find a way through on the inside of Marius Jackson. Jackson probably won't have this extra squirt that the Lambo's got down into the S's, but he's got to try and find a way through. That's the important factor. Top 3 up into Leeuwkop. But Tamba's closed the gap down slightly on Michael Stephen. And you see Nathan Hammond fighting with Letlaka inside line from the return. Oh, and a touch again. Arnie Neveling spins out on the 2nd time in the race. Little touch between the Lamborghini and himself coming into the exit point of Leeuwkop corner. I'm not sure if Exo's been able to get that car back up and running again. Oh, has that misfire come back into the Porsche? Looks like it might have. Michael Stevens closed him down rapidly. So Michael Stephen now looking to take the lead, possibly take 2 wins out of 2 starts. He's not really involved in the championship overall, although it'll be fantastic to have this team back in action next year in G&H Transport Extreme Supercars, and I'm sure that's what they're planning to do with the progress that Michael Stevens got. But have a look at that. There you can see how the turbo power helps Franco Scaranti stay in the front. Michael Stevens able to close him down in the tricky bits of Kyalami, but on that long straightaway down towards Crowthorne, there's no answer. That replacement for displacement factor comes in there big time. And that turbocharger just gives that Porsche the extra edge. He comes out of Yuxke, up onto the back straight towards Sunset. Stephen trying to close him down again. Back on board with the Ultimate Outlaws man as they head towards Sunset Corner. He's going to have a little bit of a attack here as they go flying through and pushing hard. And this is going to be a hard push here from Michael Stephen if he wants to get to the front end. Not an easy run as he had last night. But he has got a slightly ailing Porsche by the looks of him in front of him. So is that going to be a big factor here? Looks like that little miss might be coming into play here. Here's a move from Gavin Cronier inside of Jabir. Finds a way through and ticks off one of the back markers and mid-pack runners. He's now going to try and find a way through there. Is that on the inside of the Covent Porsche? Yes, it is. Nicky Dix gives way. And Cronier makes the Peretti and Pablo Clark Ferrari 1 position higher. He'll head up to the top of the hill now. Look at that, 190 k's an hour. Over the 200 k an hour mark before he comes onto the brakes and down the gearbox into Leeuwkop. Nathan Hammond now being closed down by the Paget Audi. And this is a hard charge coming from Arnie. He knows he's got to try and get back to the front end. It's not easy to get through a pack of supercars that are so good and so fast around Kyalami Grand Prix circuit. He gets through on 1. Is he good enough on the brakes to get through on Jabir? No, he hangs on for now. Jabir keeps him out in that AMG-powered Lotus. And we'll try and find a way now up into Cheetah, possibly into Ingwe. Last corner, we'll look for a dive on the inside. If he gets the line right, here we go. Is he good enough on the brakes? No, Jabir is very good on the brakes. That power to weight ratio on that little Lotus is exceptionally good. And of course, he had a fantastic run at the hill climb only a couple of weekends ago. But now the Audi should come into its own. I say that, but that AMG powered Lotus is keeping him very honest. Maybe the bit of damage on the front end of this car is not allowing Arnie the ability to push as hard as what he'd like. There he eventually gets through into Crowthorne. Finds a way past. Patient driving coming from Arnie Neveling. And I'll have to try and find a way through on that Covent Porsche of Nicky Dix. Looks like he's not going to waste too much time on that. As a go already going into the exit point of Yuxke, now heads towards Sunset. A little bit extra squirt from the Audi. Will come around the outside. Has he got enough? Yes, he has. He'll fly around the outside of Sunset and hang on to that outside line to get ahead of the Porsche. So some good moving through there. And 3 corners, 3 cars. Nicely done from Neveling. How far up is it going to put him? Is he going to be able to still get into that top 5 and still secure himself an overall position in the top 5 for this weekend at Festival of Motoring? Further back, Momia in the Toys R Us Porsche ahead of Marius Jackson. Son Moodley on his tail, and Andrew Culbert's there as well. So Culbert and Moodley. I said there was going to be a bit of a fight between the two of them. It's great to see the 2 Bigfoot cars having that fight, along with Marius Jackson from MJR Motorsport. Top of the hill. Oh, problems. That's Neveling. Neveling's pulled to the sideline. So I kind of thought there might be a bit of an issue there on that Audi. It seemed to be slowing a little bit too much for my liking. He has an inside line from the Lambo of Zulile Letlaka. Letlaka finds a way past and gets through on Jackson. So he managed to get through on one of the Audis. The last time he had an Audi up there, it was Neveling's car, and the 2 of them tangled. Let's have a look at that in a replay. What actually went down here? As he comes out of the S's, you can see Neveling comes out, and he goes for some drive. Just lacking drive there big time. Something's gone wrong, and there you have it. Oh, inside the car, you can see something pop dramatically, and he's pulled onto the side of the track and into the kiddie litter on the outside of that turn-in point at Leeuwkop. Further up the field, we go back to the lead of the race, and this is where Michael Steven is hounding Franco Scribanti. And despite Franco Scribanti talking about a little bit of a misfire on that Porsche, it doesn't seem to be affecting the top end of the car, which is the only reason Michael Steven can't find a way through on him. And there, once again, a prime example of how that Porsche just pulls away on the straight. So no matter how many times you've had an SA champion, and Michael Steven's got about 18 of those, whether karting, saloon cars, or single-seaters, he just doesn't have an answer there to the might and power of that Porsche coming out of Scribanti Racing. They head back down into the S's one more time. It's a big push from Michael Steven. He's trying to find some kind of a chink in the armor there. Not always easy to do. You can ask the usual contenders in G&H Transport Extreme Supercars how to find that chink. There's not a lot of them that have done it. We have seen, of course, Jonathan du Toit take a victory ahead of Scribanti. We've seen Charles Arangis do it. Can Michael Steven do it now as well? On his return to G&H Transport Extreme Supercars here for Ultimate Outlaws. They head down into the sweep. Back marker in the way there. Is that possibly Ulisana that they're coming up on in the Z4? I think it might be. They go flying past, and around the outside, Michael Steven trying something. What's the cutback? There you go. Oh, there you have. That is experience of note there from Michael Steven coming into play. Take nothing away for what Franco's got in terms of experience, but there is a karting move of note. Running wide and getting a late cutback to get on the inside of the Porsche, who went defensive to try and keep him out on the outside. Is it perfect timing? We'll have to wait and see. Michael Steven doing this down to the wire. Brilliant stuff from him as he crosses the line and takes the second victory. So it's Michael Steven with the second win right in the closing stages to beat out the championship leader. Nicky Dix has had a fantastic outing. He's going to finish up in the top 5 overall by the looks of things in that Curvent Porsche. And he's going to lead out Nathan Hammond in the Trinity Protection Services Lamborghini and Juba in the Lotus. Flags out for Zulile Letlaka as well as he comes across the line. Nice run there from Exo. And once again, it is Michael Steven who has been the dominant factor, although he had to fight so hard to find a way through there on Franco Scribanti. Scribanti opened up the door. You don't do that with Michael Steven on your tail. He will make you pay. And he takes the victory ahead of Scribanti by only half a second. Cronier in third, up into third. Good recovery there from him. Beats up Nicky Dix and Nathan Hammond with Joubert and Letlaka. Momia, Marius Jackson and Son Moodley make up the top 10. 11th place, it was a hard push there coming from Andrew Culbert to fight with his teammate Mo, and it was a very tight battle there between him and Moodley. Toy finishes up eventually in 12th place after having to go into the kiddie litter ahead of Ellerine and Mikhail Patamba. Roy Aubrey in 15th place.
I planned it the whole race, and I got him out of the bowl, and then I just got enough gap through the second last corner. Yeah, fantastic race. You know, we knew it was going to be difficult with Franco with the straight line speed, and we were going to have a go in the last corner in the last lap, and opportunity presented itself 3 corners before that. I took it, made it stick, and you know, big thanks to Team Ultimate Outlaws. Africa raced together. You know, without them, mechanics Ruan, Bar and Sian, Isaac Spies, you know, big thank you for the opportunity, and what a great weekend.
It sure looks like Franco's not too disappointed with his result. He still stays at the top of the championship.
Yeah, just 1 or 2 corners from the end. In the middle of the mine shaft, there was a a back marker, none of his fault. I had to go to the right, and by the time I'd passed him, there wasn't any time to go all the way to the left to attack the bowl, but Michael had the time, so I dived. I went on the inside, and he had a nice run on the outside and came past me. It was just the luck of the draw. I mean, to basically the last corner, but if I'm going to lose, let it to be to one of the best. And I just want to say well done to Michael, because there was times that I pulled out a bit and I thought I might have broken him, but definitely not. I mean, he just comes back and comes back and comes back. So, but that's racing, eh? It's how it's supposed to be.
I had a really good start in the beginning. We managed to do quite a good start, and my reaction time was really good. Managed to get into the first corner. There's a bit of an incident. I know that I never did anything. We did really well. We managed to maintain the pace. With the car was really good. The team did a really good job. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out to support me. I think we should take this momentum forward and push forward in Europe where it counts.
And we certainly wish him all the very best in his international duties, because he's certainly flying the flag high. Flying the flag high for Padgett Racing and Australia Motorsport. Unfortunately, not according to plan, though. Let's catch up with Arnie and see what went down.
It's really not that. In turn one, there was some contact. I got hit from behind, not really sure what happened, so I still have to wait for the footage just to see exactly what happened. And then after that, slowly came through the field, and really silly mistake from my part. I touched EXO, and I do apologize. It was a small mistake from my side. After that, we just suffered from a small issue on the car, so we decided to keep it safe and just park it. So not ideal day, but it was still an absolute privilege to drive a GT3 car at Kyalami. I mean, for me, it's just it's really nice, and I really thank the team for all their hard work, and to Harry, I mean, it was a fantastic experience.
As we head to Kyalami for the next round of the Extreme Festival, the Extreme Supercars look like this. 118 points, plays 101. Scribanti ahead of Detoy. And look at that, Joseph Ellering right up into the top 3 after a fantastic outing here at Kyalami. Charles Orangis drops down to 4, and Gianni Giannacora stays in the top 5. All this Extreme Supercar action from Kyalami was proudly brought to you by G&H Transport.